ओम वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ओम श्री महागणपतये नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्य मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शंकरं लोकशंकरं। शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम श्री मेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्ट्वागुंसस्तनूभिः यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्ठनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। So namaste once again everyone.
Namaste Guruji.
Namaste. So we will chant the sixth mantra and the last portion of the bhashya which we started in the last class. Yat tat adreshyam agrahyam agotram avarnam achakshusrotram tadapanipadam nityam vibhum sarvagatam susukshmam tadavyayam yadbhutayonim paripashyanti dhiraah. Now the bhashya. Yata evam agrahyam agrahakam agrahyam agrahakam cha atah nityam avinashi vibhum vividham brahmadi stavaranta pranibedaihi bhavati iti vibhum sarvagatam vyapakam akashavat susukshmam shabdadisthulatva karanarahitatvat शब्दादयोः हि आकाशवायुः आदीनां उत्तरोत्तरं
उत्तरोत्तरम्
स्थूलत्वकारणानि
स्थूलत्वकारणानि
तद् अभावात्
तदभावात्
सुसूक्ष्मम्
सुसूक्ष्मम्
किञ्च
किञ्च
तदव्ययम्
तदव्ययम्
उक्तधर्मात्वादेव
धर्मादेव
न व्येति
न व्योति
इत्यव्ययम्
इत्यव्ययम्
न हि
न हि
अनङ्गस्य
अनङ्गस्य
स्वाङ्गापचयलक्षणः व्ययः सम्भवति
व्ययः सम्भवति
शरीरस्य इव
शरीरस्य इव
नापि
नापि
कोशापचयलक्षणः
कोशायपचयलक्षणः
व्ययः सम्भवति
व्ययः सम्भवति
राज्ञ इव
राज्ञ इव
नापि गुणद्वारको व्ययः
गुणद्वारकोऽव्ययः
सम्भवति
सम्भवति
अगुणत्वात्
अगुणत्वात्
सर्वात्मकत्वाच्च
सर्वात्मकत्वाच्च
यद् एवं लक्षणम्
यदेवं लक्षणम्
भूतयोनिम्
भूतयोनिम्
भूतानां कारणम्
भूतानां कारणम्
पृथिवी इव
पृथिवीव
स्थावरजङ्गमानां
स्थावरजङ्गमानां
परिपश्यन्ति सर्वतः
परिपश्यन्ति सर्वतः
आत्मभूतं सर्वस्य
आत्मभूतं सर्वस्य
अक्षरं पश्यन्ति धीराः
अक्षरं पश्यन्ति धीराः
धीमन्तः विवेकिनः
धीमन्तः विवेकिनः
ईदृशम् अक्षरम्
ईदृशम् अक्षरम्
यया विद्यया
विद्यया
अधिगम्यते
अधिगम्यते
सा परा विद्या
सा परा विद्या
इति समुदायार्थः
इति समुदायार्थः।
वेरी गुड, धन्यवाद. So we are discussing the bhashyam of the sixth mantra, very important mantra, where Brahman is introduced in Mundakopanishad. I would say introduction took place in the fifth mantra, but here the description of Brahman is given. And Acharya is using 12 adjectives to describe Akshara Brahman, which is the subject matter of Paravidya. What are the 12 adjectives? We have gone through it again and again. Adreshyam, Agrahyam, Agotram, Avarnam, Achakshusrotram, Apanipadam, Nityam, Vibhum, Sarvagatam, Susukshmam, Avyayam, Bhutayonim. So many adjectives are required to describe this Akshara Brahman, which is consciousness. Because it is very difficult to explain to someone what consciousness is. Generally, if we want to explain something to someone, what we will do, we will use some examples which the listener is familiar with. For example, a listener may be very familiar with the shape of a fat buffalo. but he or she has never seen a bison. There is an animal called bison, which is found in North America and some parts of Europe. Now, you have actually made a trip to North America and you have gone on some safari or something, and you have seen a bison. You are very thrilled. You want to come back and you want to explain it to somebody who has never been to America, who has never seen a bison. So what would you say? You will say, a bison is a large horned ox-like animal of the bovine family. It looks similar to a large buffalo, but it has got large humps at their shoulders, bigger heads than a buffalo. They also have beards as well as thick coats, which they shed in spring and early summer. Another feature is bisons have smaller horns than buffaloes. So when such a description is made, the listener will he can visualize, he will get a fair idea of what a bison looks like. In fact, one can even show a photo of a bison. You just Google bison, you will get so many photos. But that is not possible in the case of Akshara Brahman, because there is nothing in the universe which can be compared to it. So it is almost impossible to give an example to describe Akshara Brahman. But that is the only reality in the entire universe. And therefore, that reality has to be taught to the mumukshus pursuing the moksha purushartha. And that has to be taught in such a way that they not only understand what Brahman is, but they are also able to internalize that knowledge and abide in that knowledge. And that is why Shruti, Upanishad after Upanishad, struggles to describe Akshara Brahman in various ways using various adjectives. But any adjective used always will fall short of an exact description. Because as I said earlier, Akshara Brahman is unique, Advitiya. And here also in Mundaka Upanishad, the Shruti makes the same attempt to make us understand what Akshara Brahman is by using some positive and some negative adjectives. So now out of the 12 adjectives used, we have discussed the Bhashyam relating to 9 of them. That is up to Sarvagatam in the last class. Now the next one is Susukshmam. Sukshmam means subtle. Susukshmam means extremely subtle, or you can say subtlest. And why is Akshara Brahman the subtlest? Bhashyakara says, Shabdhadi Stulatva Karana Rahitatvat. Rahitatvat means being free from. Karana, the cause for. Stulatva, grossness, such as Shabdadi, Shabda, etc. Such as sound, etc. So being free from the cause of grossness, such as sound, etc., Akshara Brahman is very subtle. That's what Bhashyakara is explaining. And as we were discussing in the last class, grossness and subtleness, they are opposite qualities. And as we have seen in Tattva Bodha, grossness is caused by presence of qualities in a substance. The more the qualities, the more the grossness. The less the qualities, the less the grossness. And so the more the subtleness. Now, when it comes to qualities, Shastra classifies the qualities or gunas of all Panchabhutas, which make up the entire objective universe, as comprising of 5 qualities. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. We are all familiar with all these things. But I'm just explaining all this given the context of what Bhashyakara is now trying to connect. The Sukshmatvam, Susukshmam, he is trying to connect with the qualities. So grossness is caused by the presence of a quality, and more and bigger the number of qualities, it will cause more grossness. So there is a direct relation between the number of qualities and the grossness. And while discussing the mantra also, I think in the last or maybe couple of classes earlier, we have seen the process of increasing of the subtlety of the Pancha Mahabhutas, starting from Prithvi and ending with Akasha. The increase in subtlety corresponds to decrease in qualities. Prithvi, the earth, which is the grossest element of the Pancha Mahabhutas, has got all the 5 qualities: Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa and Gandha. Now you will ask, what about Gandha? Yes, earth has got a very beautiful, nice smell, which we can experience when the first rains come in the monsoon. When the mud, the earth is totally parched with heat, first rain comes and you get such a nice, fragrance rather. That is the quality, that is the fragrance of the earth. But of course, over a period of time, with all the other rubbish that we are polluting the earth with, that fragrance we lose and we get the smell of all other things. So earth has got all the 5 qualities, and the subtlest, the Mahabhuta, Akasha, space, has got only 1 quality. That's why if you go reverse, Prithvi, then Apaha, then Agnihi, then Vayuhu, then Akasha. Akasha has got only 1 quality, which is sound. And Akshara Brahman is the ultimate cause, the Karanam of all the Panchabhutas. It has no quality. And therefore, it is subtlest of all, Susukshmam. And that is what Bhashyakara is pointing out here by saying Shabdadi Stulatva Karana Rahitatvat. So Brahman, being free from the cause for grossness such as sound, etc., is the subtlest. And Bhashyakara further explains or elaborates this idea in the next sentence. Shabdadayoho hi Akasha Vayu Adhinam Uttarottaram Stulatva Karanani Tad Abhavat Susukshmam. I will just split the sandhis in this word so that it is clear to you. Do the Padacheda. Shabda Adaya Akasha Vayu Adhinam Uttarottaram Stulatva Karanani Tad Abhavat Susukshmam. So that every word we can understand. So he says he means because, or you can say indeed. Either way you can take. Let's say take indeed. Shabda Adayaha, sound, etc. But you have to be very careful, because the word Shabda sometimes will mean sound and sometimes it will mean a word. So here, given the context, we should take the meaning of sound. Why? Because we are talking of qualities of Pancha Mahabhutas. And sound is the quality of Akasha. So, here Shabda Adaya means the sound, etc. Adaya means etc. Includes Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa and Gandha. So 5 qualities of the Pancha Mahabhutas. And they are Akasha Vayu Adinam. Means Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apa, Prithvi. Adinam represents the other 3. He has quoted 2, Akasha and Vayu, Bhashyakara gives, and says Adinam means we have to understand Agni, Apa, Prithvi. We have to understand. Uttarottaram, progressively, Stulatva Karanani are the causes for grossness. Now, what Bhashyakara is explaining is that with the decrease in the number of qualities of each element, the subtlety of each element is progressively increasing. And the reason for this is that each prior element is the cause for each successive element. And this is the process of creation, which is very nicely expressed in Taittiriya Upanishad. Of course, we have seen it also. The ultimate cause of creation is the combination of Brahman and Maya. And that is what is that said. That from that combination of Brahman and Maya, tasmad va etasmat atmanah akasha sambhutah. So from that combination of Brahman and Maya, Akasha is born. Sambhutah means born. Then it says Akashat Vayuhu. From Akasha, Vayuhu is born. From space, wind is born. Then Vayor Agnihi. Agner Apah. Adbhya Prithvi. Adbhya means waters. Prithvi. So the sequence of creation is Atmanam. Atmanam. From Atma or Brahman. Of course, we have to add Maya. Akasha Sambhutah. Akasha or space is born. Now, we must remember the connection between the sequence in the creation and the number of qualities. Atma, Brahman has no qualities. Akasha or space, which is the firstborn from Brahman, has one quality, sound. And it is said that the sound of Om is the sound of space, the primordial sound. All other sounds are manifestation of this sound only. And that is why, in Yoga Shastra also, this Om is split as A, U, M. What is A, U, M? The 3 sounds starting with A, when the mouth is open, U, mouth is half closed, M, mouth is fully closed. All sounds in any language can be produced only by these 3, either fully open mouth or semi-open mouth or with the mouth closed. So that is why sound is the most important element. Then it says Akashat Vayuhu. From Akasha, the second element, Vayu, air is born. Vayu has got 2 qualities, Shabda and Sparsha, sound and touch. We can hear the wind blowing and also feel its touch when it caresses the skin of our face and body, isn't it? Sometimes when there is a beautiful breeze, we just want to go to the terrace, close our eyes, and then let the breeze, just sort of touch us. It's so nice, so soothing. Isn't it? Then the next in line is Vayor Agnihi. From Vayu, the third element, Agni or fire, is born. And fire has got three qualities: Shabda, Sparsha, and Rupa, sound, touch, and form. What does the fire have? Does not have? It does not have taste. Of course, nobody knows whether fire has got taste because nobody can taste it. So the Shastra says fire does not have taste. Don't try it out. Don't put fire in your mouth. Then the fourth in the sequence is to be born is Agner Apaha. From Agni, the fourth element is water is born. Water has got four qualities: Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, and Rasa, taste. Water has got taste. That's why when you go and take a sip of the water in the sea, you say, oh, it's so salty. Whereas go and the very nice river, unpolluted river, you taste the water, so sweet water. Sometimes even groundwater, so sweet. So water has got four qualities: sound, touch, form, taste. Finally, Adbhya Prithvi. From Apaha, from water, the fifth and the final element, Prithvi, earth, is born. And Prithvi has got all the five qualities, as I have just now explained: Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, and Gandha. Now, Atma or Brahman is the subtlest, Susukshmam. That is why Bhashyakara says, if you actually look at from the standpoint of number of qualities, since Brahman has got no quality, it is the subtlest, Susukshmam. Next in line in Akasha, the next in line is Akasha, which is subtle but grosser than Brahman, because we can experience space, whereas we cannot experience Brahman as a separate entity. Brahman is not available for pratyaksha, but by anumanam, by inference, we can understand the existence of Brahman. Then Vayu, air, born out of Akasha, is grosser than Akasha. Agni is grosser than Vayu, Apa is grosser than Agni, and finally, Prithvi is the grossest of all elements. Now we can correlate the degree of grossness with the number of qualities and come to the Vyapti. More number of qualities, the grosser the element is. And that is what Bhashyakara says, Shabdadayoho hi Akasha Vayu Adinam Uttarottaram Stulatva Karanani Tad Abhavad. Because Brahman does not have all these qualities, Susukshmam. In the absence of those qualities, that we find in the five elements, Brahman is Susukshmam, the subtlest. And therefore, Akshara Brahman is not available for perception through any of the five sense organs. Because sense organs can operate only if the object has got some quality. Even the mind will also operate only when inputs are received from the sense organs. And that is why, again and again it is said, knowing Brahman, understanding Brahman is purely a cognitive process. It is not an experience. Even our buddhi finds it difficult to understand Brahman. Because the buddhi is also used to think in terms of these qualities only. And therefore, it becomes difficult for buddhi to comprehend what Brahman is. And that is why Shastra says, to understand Brahman, you require a Sukshma Buddhi. Kathopanishad mantra says, Drishyate Tvagraya Buddhya Sukshmaya Sukshmadarshibihi. Sukshmaya Buddhya. Why? Because Brahman is Sukshma. When Brahman is Sukshma, the Buddhi that is required to understand, appreciate that Brahman also should be Sukshma. For example, a very small thing is to be operated, surgical. For example, eye surgery. For example, now they say cataract surgery. Of course, these days they use laser. Laser again is a very subtle instrument. But earlier days they used to use, what they call, I don't know what they call for eyes. Normally for operation they call it scalpel or something. For eye operation, very, very fine, knife kind of a thing they use. A surgeon cannot use big scalpels, big hammer, etc. to hit the eye. So what is required is a very fine instrument, very subtle instrument. And therefore, if Brahman is to be comprehended, understood, then it requires very, very sukshma buddhi. Like what we call nano surgery, requires nano instruments. So here also nano buddhi is required because Brahman is most subtle. And how do we acquire this nano buddhi? We have gone through it in Brahma Sutra, in Bhagavad Gita, Karma Yoga, Chitta Shuddhi. The more and more impurities we actually discard from our buddhi, the more and more our chittam becomes purer and purer. It becomes subtler and subtler. See, all these things, whatever is taught in our Shastra is connected. Why I require Chitta Shuddhi? I can attend the class, understand everything that is being said. Intellectually, you may understand. You won't be able to appreciate what is being taught. Because this is not for acquiring some PhD degree or something like that. You are getting the knowledge of Brahman for your own moksha, your own liberation from samsara. So mere understanding at the intellectual level can only help you to give a lecture to other people. You may not be convinced about what you are talking also. Since you are not convinced, others also will not be convinced. You may earn some name, fame, etc. Oh, I am also a Vedanta teacher. I am a professor in so and so university, because so many universities in the West have introduced Hinduism and Vedanta and all as subjects. And there are many professors who teach. They may be Shrotriya, but not Brahmanishta. Therefore, Shastra again emphasizes all this Karma Yoga, how Karma Yoga is to be performed, so that you get a subtle mind, subtlest mind. Subtlest mind then can appreciate the subtlest Brahman. That is what the whole scheme of thing is. Now the next sentence is Kincha tad avyayam ukta dharmatvad eva navyeti iti avyayam. Kincha, moreover, tad avyayam. The tadavyayam is there, we got to separate tat and avyayam. Moreover, that Akshara Brahman is avyayam. Avyayam means indeclinable. It does not decay. Now, Sanskrit students will be familiar with the term avyaya, indeclinable words in Sanskrit. So such students should not immediately think that the word Brahman is indeclinable. It is a avyaya. They should not think. We are not talking about the word Brahman, which is very much declinable. Brahman is Napumsakalingam. Brahma Brahmani Brahmani. Brahma Brahmani Brahmani. So you can decline the word Brahman, but here we are not talking about the word Brahman being indeclinable. We are not talking about Sachidananda Brahma or Akshara Brahman being indeclinable. Here Avyayam means Navyeti. does not decline, does not get weakened, does not diminish. That is the meaning of avyayam. And how come it is avyayam? Bhashyakara says, Ukta dharmatvat eva navyeti iti avyayam. Ukta dharmatvat eva. Eva means indeed. Dharmatvat. Because of having the nature which has been described. Ukta means already described. Because of having the above mentioned nature, Brahman does not decline. And therefore, Brahman is avyayam. That is the meaning. Since Brahman is having the nature as Nityam, Vibhum, Sarvagatam, which we have already seen, which has been described earlier, therefore avyayam. So this is the Shastric standpoint. Now Bhashyakara wants to spend some time on this avyayam, indeclinable, to explain from a logical standpoint also. He explains that there are three possibilities of vyaya, declension. And a decline can be of three types. And he explains that any one of these three types is not possible for Brahman, and therefore Brahman is avyayam. And this idea he gives in the next sentence. Nahi anangasya swanga apachaya lakshanaha vyaya sambhavati sharirasya iva. He, because vyaya, we have seen vyaya means decline. Lakshanaha in the form of apachaya means diminishing of one's limbs. Na sambhavati is not possible. For whom? Anangasya. For one who is partless or limbless. So, for a partless or a limbless thing or a person or an entity, the decline in the form of diminishing of one part is not possible. As it happens in the case of sharirasya iva, as in the case of the body. Because the body has got limbs, legs, hands, hands have got fingers, toes. And there is a possibility of loss of limbs, loss of limbs. And loss of limbs is a type of decline, isn't it? Suppose somebody's leg is amputated for some medical reasons, health reasons. That's a decline. One leg gone, isn't it? So a body, physical body can have vyaya, loss or decline, whereas Brahman does not have any parts. And therefore, there is no question of Brahman losing any part. So it is something like, if you have invested in stocks, shares, etc., then with the downward movement of the share market, you can lose the value of your shareholding can decline. There's a possibility. But if you have not invested anything in shares, there is no possibility of any decline, even if the stock markets crash. So if you have something, then there's a possibility of losing it. If you have nothing, you cannot lose anything. Therefore, nahi anangasya, for a partless or a limbless thing, which is Brahman, vyayaha, the decline in the form of losing or diminishing one's own part is not possible. So this is Anvaya Drashtanta. And Vyatirikta Drashtanta is Sharira Seva, opposite. Like the body, Brahman cannot decline. So this is one argument he gives, logical argument. The argument is only if you have got parts or limbs, there is a possibility of losing them. Brahman does not have parts or limbs, so there is no question of Vyaya. Therefore, Brahman is Avyaya. Now he gives the next argument. What is that? Na api kosha apachaya lakshana vyaya sambhavati ragnya iva. Na api, not even. Vyaya, decline or loss. Lakshana, in the form of. Kosha apachaya, decline of treasure. Here kosha, we should not confuse with panchakosha. Here kosha means treasure, the royal treasure. Sambhavati is possible. So not even loss or decline in the form of decrease in the treasure is possible for Brahman, which is possible for Ragnya Iva, like in the case of a king. In the case of a king, a decline or loss can happen in the royal treasure. If the king loses all wealth either by spending or by being dethroned, it can happen, he can lose the treasure. But Brahman does not have any such wealth outside Brahman. Brahman himself is the wealth. He doesn't have wealth to be lost. And that type of loss also is not possible. So, kosha apachaya lakshana vyaya na sambhavati. See, Bhashyakara is thinking in terms of what all types of decline is possible. And three important, of course, we may bring in more types of declines. Any decline you can think of, it is not possible for Brahman. We will come to that conclusion only. And the third argument he gives, napi gunadvaraka vyaya sambhavati agunatvat sarvatmakatvacha. Napi, not even. Gunadvaraka vyaya. Gunadvaraka vyaya means loss in terms of quality. Sambhavati is possible. Even loss or weakening in terms of qualities is not possible because he says agunatvat, because Brahman is aguna, does not have any guna. Only if somebody has some guna, like a musician has got a guna. What is the guna? A quality. A good singer may have a sweet voice, but that voice can decline due to aging or due to some, severe cold or something like that. His singing prowess can be said to be declined. So the sweet melodious voice which was there, which had made millions his or her fans, is no longer there. We can think of many more qualities which diminish over a period of time due to illness, old age, etc. So the qualities which we possess are subject to decline, whereas there is no possibility of qualities of Brahman declining because Brahman does not have any qualities. Brahman is susukshmam nirgunam. But then you say, oh, but Brahman, Upanishad say Brahman is Sachidananda. Sat, Chit and Ananda. Are they not qualities of Brahman? Good question. They are not qualities. They are the very nature of the Swarupam of Brahman, which can never be lost. There cannot be Brahman without Sat Swarupam being there, Chit Swarupam being there, and Ananda Swarupam or Ananta Swarupam being there. And therefore, Brahman cannot have even this third type of loss, Gunadvaraka, decline in terms of loss of quality. Because Bhashyakara says Agunatvat. So agunatvat is the hetu, the reason for gunadvaraka vyaya na sambhavati. So not having qualities in is one reason for loss or declension in the qualities. Now Bhashyakara gives another reason, a very interesting reason. He says, Sarvatmakatvacha. Sarvatmakam. Brahman is everything. Sarvatmakam. Brahman is all. Brahman being all means, since Brahman is in the form of everything, therefore Brahman cannot have Vyayaha. How? We have seen Brahman does not have any gunas because all the gunas are Vyavaharika alone. Vyavaharika qualities do not belong to Brahman. Brahman is Nirguna. But if you consider from the standpoint of Vyavaharika Drishtya, from the standpoint of the gunas, then all the gunas have got their adhishtanam in Brahman alone. Whenever we say guna is, that isness is what? The very existence of a guna is Brahman alone. So no guna can exist apart from Brahman. And losing some quality means what? It means that quality going away from Brahman, isn't it? When I say I am losing my voice, my sweet voice, what does it mean? The sweet voice is as though going away from me. It is not with me anymore. And therefore, when we say losing something, there are two perspectives. The perspective of the loser and the perspective of the lost. But nothing can go away from Brahman because Brahman pervades everything. You cannot take clay out of a pot. Clay is the karanam and it pervades the pot. So you go to a shop and you say, no, I don't want I want the pot, but I don't want the clay. Nothing can be done. Similarly, when Brahman pervades everything, nothing can be away from Brahman because nothing can exist apart from Brahman. They're all very, very fine arguments Bhashyakara is explaining. Any quality anywhere, whether manifest or unmanifest, does not exist apart from Brahman, and therefore Brahman cannot lose any quality. No quality can go away from Brahman, and therefore Brahman is Avyayaha. So that is one more description of Brahman. So Bhashyakara is not satisfied by merely saying earlier that Brahman does not have any quality and therefore he is Susukshma. He says, even though Brahman does not have any quality, no quality can exist without Brahman, and therefore Brahman is Abhyaya. See, both ways he actually, both perspectives he presents. Now the next one. Yat evam lakshanam bhutayonim bhutanam karanam prithvi iva stavara jangamanam paripashyanti sarvatah atma bhutam sarvasya aksharam pashyanti dhiraha dhimantah vivekinah. Now Bhashyakara takes up the last part of the mantra, which is Yad bhutayonim paripashyanti dhiraha. Yad means which. Bhutayonim, the cause of all beings. Paripashyanti, seeing completely. Who are seeing? Dhiraha, wise people. So wise people are seeing everywhere that which is the cause of all beings. That part is explained. Yad is explained as evam lakshanam. That which is having the above mentioned nature, which is of such nature. So it is referring to the Akshara Tattva, the imperishable, which is of such nature, described variously, with 12 adjectives in this mantra, 11 adjectives you can say, or 12 adjectives. Bhutayonim also is there. So that is the meaning of evam lakshanam. So Bhutayonim is equal to Bhutanam Karanam. The literal meaning of Yoni is the womb. And Bhutanam Yoni means the womb of all beings. And here we have to understand, womb stands for material cause. It is the cause of all beings. And here the beings refers to all living beings and all non-living beings also. All elements as well as elementals. So for all things and beings, this Akshara Brahman is Karanam, the cause. And to explain this idea, Bhashyakara gives the example, Prithvi iva stavara jangamana. Iva means just as. Prithvi, the earth element, is stavara jangamanam karanam. Just as the earth is the cause for all mobile and immobile living and non-living beings. Stavara means all plants you see, how they are born of Prithvi alone. Prithvi Tattvam alone is there in the form of plants. Prithvi Tattvam alone is there in the form of mountain. Prithvi Tattvam alone is there in the form of buildings. All of them are called Stavara, immobile. And Jangama means those who are movable, like animals, reptiles, ants, insects, etc., including human beings. All of them have got their Karanam in the earth. Some of them directly, others are born of food and and food is born of Prithvi. And therefore, these Jangama, movables, are also having their Karanam in Prithvi. And then Brahman is the cause, ultimate cause for Prithvi. And therefore, Brahman becomes the cause of all things and beings. Brahman is the cause for all elements and all elementals. And therefore, Brahman is called Bhutanam Karanam. Now there could be a question. If Prithvi is the Karanam, the cause of all things and beings, all elements and elementals, etc., for all Stavara Jangama, then how come it is said Brahman is the Karanam for everything? So we must know the difference between Drishtanta and Drashtanta, the principle and the example. We have to understand Brahman is the Mula Karan, the cause of all causes. And Prithvi is one of the products of Brahman, which in turn becomes the cause for Stavara Jangama. So Brahman is the cause of everything. And since it is the cause of everything, it is the cause of Prithvi also. And that is why it was said Vibhum, Sarvagatam, etc. All these are all connected. So Brahman is Bhutayonim, therefore it is Vibhum. And since it is Vibhum, it is Sarvagatam. And that Brahman, Paripashyanti. Pari stands for Paritaha, means everywhere. Pashyanti means seeing. So Paripashyanti means seeing everywhere. Bhashyakara explains as Sarvataha Atma Bhutam Sarvasya aksharam pashyanti. So he translates paritah as sarvatah, everywhere. Seeing what? Aksharam, this akshara tattvam. And seeing as what? Atma bhutam sarvasya, in the form of the self, the essence of all. So the idea conveyed by this particular expression is any effect is nothing but the cause. Essentially, cause alone is in the form of all effects. Therefore, if you want to see the cause, how will you see? You can see the cause through the effects. Like you can see gold in and through all ornaments. You can see clay in and through all pots. You can see water in and through all waves. So you can see the karanam in and through all products. And who are those who are seeing thus? Bhashyakara says they are dhiras, dhimanta hai, vivekina hai, wise people. Dhimanta hai means these people with intelligence, intelligent people, people with wisdom. By intelligence also can be translated as wisdom. And those who are vivekina hai, people with discrimination. Seeing the nama rupa and astitvam, the sat tattvam. So vivekina hai. They are able to appreciate that what is coming and going is nama rupa, and which never goes away is existence. The easiness of the nama rupas, that never goes away. They have done viveka all the way. First they have done dharma viveka. Then they have done nitya anitya viveka. Now they are doing satya mitya viveka. So they know that what is perishable is mithya, nama rupa, and existence is imperishable. Not only when the creation is manifest, even when the creation goes into unmanifest state during pralaya, then also the creation exists in the form of a seed which is imperishable. And this goes on, creation after creation after creation. So this nama rupa creation is imperishable. And that imperishable existence, that alone is Brahman. And that is how they appreciate Brahman everywhere. So you say, how do I know this flask is Brahman? The moment you say flask is, that isness is Brahman. That is how you have to understand. And everywhere you see, flask is, photo is, clock is, computer is, mouse is, table is. Isness is common. The name and the shape changes, but isness is common to everything in this entire universe. And that isness is the Brahman, the existence. Therefore, they are vivekina hai. So such people are seeing Brahman everywhere. It is not that they see Brahman only while closing their eyes and meditating. Whenever they see anything, hear anything, touch anything, they are aware of existence alone, which is Brahman. They are seeing everything as Brahman only. The eastness in everything, the astitvam in everything is Brahman alone. Brahmarpanam Brahma Havihi, Brahmagnau Brahmanahutam, Brahmaivatena Gantavyam, Brahma Karma Samadhina. This all Gita students saw this. We have already seen this in the 4th chapter. So this is the vision of the Dhiras, such wise people. So they see Brahman or Atma as the very Adhishtanam, the very essence of everything. They have progressed from Ekarupa Ishvara stage to Anekarupa Ishvara vision. And they have finally reached the stage of appreciating Arupa Ishvara's Adhishtanam, the essence of everything. And that is why when a person has wisdom, there is no restriction in appreciating Brahman. More we will see in the next class. Okay. Let's stop here. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Dhanyavadaha. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much,
Harihi Om
Guruji.
Guruji.
Om. Thank you.
Namaskaram, Guruji.
Namaskaram.
Thank you, Guruji.
Namaste.
Namaskaram, Guruji.
Thank
Hari Om
you.
Guruji. Thank you.
And thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Premaji, what is your question?
Thank you, Guruji. Namaste, Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Guruji, my question was I missed something. I heard Buddha Samhritya. Did you say that? It sounded like that. And I didn't know what it meant.
Oh, I don't know. I don't. Buddham Sampritya.
No, Buddha Samhritya.
Let me just see my notes.
Maybe it is wrong. Maybe it is, I heard it wrong.
Because that was the last class or before that.
Mm.
Buddha Samkhya means which is basically, taken in the buddhi, that which is absorbed. But
Absorbed in the Buddha.
today's class, I didn't mention anything like that. I don't remember.
Not today, Guruji. It is probably the previous one.
Okay. I misunderstood you. So that
And
means
another?
Buddha Samskritya means having taken, having absorbed that. That's
Having
the
absorbed.
meaning, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the buddhi.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is the meaning. So, whatever context that is there, you put the context and understand what it is meant. You said the full sentence is there because I am not remembering the entire Bhashyam. So, if you give me the context, I can explain to you what that particular portion says.
What I did was I just put the words down and I put a question mark there. So I myself don't know where to go back to it. I'll have to review.
Next class, you ask me the question where with the full sentence, what was it? I will explain to you.
Yes. And today it was Drishtanta and Drashtanta.
Drishtanta means the principle, what is the principle? Drashtanta means example. So we use example to explain a principle. That in Sanskrit is called Drishtanta and Drashtanta.
Okay. And what I wanted to Adhigamyate is understood. So it becomes Aparavidya, or is it still Paravidya there? Because I've written down Idrisham Aksharam Yaya Vidyaya Adhigamyate Sa Paravidya iti Samudayarthaha.
So the way the Aksharam Brahman has been explained, if you understand that, that is called Paravidya. So the Paravidya is actually connected to what has been explained, like all the 12 adjectives. So if you understand, if this Brahman is understood in this manner, using these 12 adjectives, then that is called Paravidya.
Thank you, Guruji.
Hari Om.
Thank you.
Yes, Arun Kumarji, what is your question?
Guruji, actually, I'm
For our understanding, Brahman or the Atman is the subject. I'm sorry, all others are objects. So these qualities described are for the objects alone.
Yes.
Then these 12 adjectives, actually, I mean, when how do they really? I'm not able to appreciate how can because Brahman being the subject, which does not have anything to do with any of the objects and which the subjects can never know with whatever tools and this thing available. There's 12 adjectives, though the words are very clear. But the meaning of an adjective is actually descriptive of some quality, this thing. So when Brahman is not supposed to have any quality, how can you have an adjective? I mean, that is my language thing. Sorry, this is not actually.
It's very simple. That is why it's a so drishyam is a quality. Seeing is a quality, right? That's why Brahman is adrishyam, not having quality. Varnam, color is a quality. Brahman is avarnam. So how will you say, suppose you say a person does not have any quality at all, how will you say he does not have this quality, this quality, this
No
quality?
quality is a quality. No quality is a quality.
No quality is quality of Brahman. That's all.
Sorry.
So
Thank
that
you.
is how we have to understand.
Thank you, Guru. Thank you.
Okay, Hari Om, Hari Om. Any other question?
Thank you.
Nothing else is there. No hands are going up.
Thank you. Thank you very
We
much.
can close the session. Thank you all very much. See you next week. Hari Om.
Thank you, Guruji.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Thank you. Thank you.